The 2022 BLAC Leadership Advisory Council issued a detailed report outlining strategic recommendations to address systemic inequities faced by the Black community in Michigan. Convened by Governor Gretchen Whitmer in late 2020 to identify barriers in key areas such as education, community safety, health, and business leadership, and to advise on policies to eradicate racial inequity and discrimination. The 2022 report highlights several critical areas to promote equity and enhance the quality of life for Black Michiganders. One key area of focus is supporting the Crown Act. This legislation aims to prohibit race-based hair discrimination by amending the Elliott-Larsen Civil Rights Act to include hair texture and protective hairstyles as traits historically associated with race. The act seeks to combat the discrimination Black individuals face in employment and education due to their natural hair. Despite multiple introductions, the bill has not yet been passed, and the BLAC Leadership Advisory Council urges the Michigan legislature to act on this important legislation. Another major recommendation is to cap payday loan interest rates at 36% APR. Payday lending operations, which often target communities of color, charge exorbitant interest rates that trap consumers in cycles of debt. By legislating an interest rate cap, the Advisory Council aims to protect vulnerable populations from predatory lending practices. The report also emphasizes the inclusion of Black businesses in Michigan's $10 billion federal infrastructure projects. Ensuring that Black entrepreneurs have access to state contracting opportunities is essential for economic growth and wealth equity. This includes providing resources, credit, and training to support meaningful participation in these projects. The Council highlights the need for diversity in corporate leadership, supporting legislation that encourages diversity on corporate boards and in executive positions. Expanding legislation like HB 4597 to include people of color is seen as a step towards achieving this goal. Improved data collection and analysis to address racial disparities within the criminal justice system is another critical recommendation. Data-driven approaches are essential for informing policy decisions and ensuring equitable justice. Collaboration with stakeholders is crucial to effectively utilize this data. The report also calls for legislative action to ban or significantly limit the use of no-knock warrants, which have disproportionately impacted Black communities and led to tragic outcomes. The Advisory Council urges the Michigan legislature to hold hearings on relevant bills and pass reforms to protect residents' safety and rights. To address educational inequities, the 2022 BLAC Leadership Advisory Council advocates for increased funding to equalize the foundation allowance across all school districts. Additional investments in special education, support for poverty-affected students, and English as a second language, ESL, programs are necessary to ensure all students receive quality education. In the realm of health equity, the Advisory Council underscores the importance of a more equitable distribution of state and federal health funds. Often, funding is concentrated in larger counties, leaving smaller, underserved communities without necessary resources. Ensuring all communities receive adequate funding is vital to addressing health disparities. Addressing mental health disparities requires a culturally competent workforce. The 2022 BLAC Leadership Advisory Council sets a goal to increase the number of Black mental health service providers by 20% annually over 5 years. This includes addressing barriers in state licensure policies and promoting cultural competency among providers. The report highlights the need to protect Black voting rights, urging vigilance against efforts to disenfranchise Black voters. The report supports initiatives to expand voting access and maintain current voter protections, opposing strict voter ID laws that disproportionately affect minority voters. Lastly, The 2022 Black Leadership Advisory Council opposes efforts to censor the teaching of Black history and contributions in schools. Inclusive curricula that reflect the diverse history and experiences of Black Americans are essential for an equitable education system. In conclusion, the 2022 Black Leadership Advisory Council recommendations represent a comprehensive effort to address systemic inequities and promote equity in Michigan. Through targeted policies and collaborative efforts, BLAC aims to create structural changes that ensure equitable treatment and opportunities for Black Michiganders.